Hello, I am Chanel Dupree, and I am a strategic connector with deep Midwestern roots. I want to welcome you to another creative conversation, a space where we want to share creative projects that are happening, encourage people to support the creative projects, and then inspire folks to dig deep and launch their own creative works because we're all creative and have those things within us.
Yes.
Today, I have with me a very special guest.
Yes, I am.
She's my mother.
Yes, I am.
Okay, but her name is Elaine Gunn.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. I feel honored and privileged. I've been waiting to get on the spot.
Really? I have email evidence of what happened. Okay, so dear mother of mine,
Yes.
I would love for you to just tell folks who you are.
Okay. Well, I am a mom. I am a Mimi of 10. I am a wife. I am a daughter. I am a auntie, a sister. I am the First Lady of Word First. That's who I am.
Absolutely. I'm just going to fill in some gaps here. Okay, so she was also the first African American director of a beauty college in Oklahoma. And that was like in the 90s that this happened. And it was something because I watched my mother's journey, and she started as a student. She went to school to learn how to do hair, the science of hair. And then she opened up her own beauty salon. She worked for a couple places. Then she opened up her own beauty salon. You worked from the home.
I did.
And then you went back at the school that you attended, and you were an instructor. And then after she was an instructor, she was so amazing as an instructor that she became the director of the school. And you did that for years.
Yeah, I did it a while.
Yes, one of my first kind of paid jobs.
Yes. And got paid well.
I learned customer service. So we are here today. So you did that, and just always proud of you of what you've done and how you've done it. But I want to talk about what you have recently courageously created.
Okay.
What is it?
Well, it is a podcast and a blog. It is called SUP, S-U-P, Seek Understanding and Peace. And originally it was When Life Happens, Seek Understanding and Peace. But once I started really writing and really hearing from the Lord, I said, forget when life happens. Life happens to us all. I'm just going to stick with Seek Understanding and Peace. And so it is a blog and a podcast that I scarily, courageously started.
So proud of you. Well, let me say this. So you started this, and I was like, Mom, I can help. And you were like, no, I want to learn.
Yeah.
So you went to a class.
I did.
And you literally learned how to start a podcast, how to start a blog.
I did.
You looked up all that information.
I did.
Trial and error.
Well, see, so I'm going to fill in the blanks because as a mother, you don't always tell your kids everything. But since I'm here as a source of encouragement and motivation to you all, I want y'all to know that January, I didn't even know what a blog was. Okay, I didn't know what a podcast was. This is what I did know. I knew that God had told me that this is something I needed to do. The form, he told me, was up to me. He said I could have did it in a book. I could have went from corner to corner to say it, but the message, he needed me to get out his piece. And so I'm like, well, I think I'll do the social media way. Had to look up social media to see what that meant even at that time. That's just how I knew nothing. That's how much I stepped out on faith, pure faith.
Come on now.
I had the desire. I had all kinds of topics, had everything to talk about, just didn't know how to present it to you all. So January, if you want to put me on a scale of how much I knew technical side, I would have put it at a negative 100. I explained it to her brother. I said, it's like, I walked into the hospital and the doctor said, here, I need you to go work on a heart patient and do surgery. That's how lost I felt.
Mm.
But let me tell you something. When you actually really hear God and you step out on faith, all he needs you to do is just do one step. Okay, he will propel you. He will protect you. He will guide you. He will put in you what to do next, and you'll know it's him because it'll go fairly smooth.
Yeah.
It really did. So as of today, I am at like a 70% knowing more about what I did. Now remember, I started at a negative 100.
I was gonna say that growth.
Yes, a mighty growth. Okay, because I started out with just the podcast. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh God, I need to share more in a different form. So then I said, well, maybe I could do like a blog. Mm-hmm. And so I started my blog a month ago. So that's kind of like how that started.
Just a little bit of faith. Right?
Just a little bit. Doesn't take a whole lot. It doesn't take a whole lot. He needs to know that we trust him. We need to make him our Lord. And so that's what I did. I walked out on faith. Hadn't done it in a while, because when you get old enough or older, you think, oh, I got this, I can do this. But this honestly was an area I knew nothing about, nothing at all.
So people don't think you're as the age that you are, but you are in your...
I will be 63 this year.
Yes, you are in your 60s.
I grew up in a time frame, yes. No, there were not horse and buggies, but I heard someone saying that, okay. But cell phones were not even invented then.
Typewriters?
Typewriters were invented.
I know, I'm saying like you used typewriters. Because you gave me your old typewriter.
Okay.
I did my college application on a typewriter.
Yes, but typewriters, okay?
Yes.
And cable TV, no, none of that.
I feel like cable existed. We just didn't have it in our household.
Okay, cable existed. Okay, but it really didn't exist until me and your dad were like, we just got married. And that's over 40 years ago.
And they were like, no.
We were like, no. Cable was evil back then. But not anymore. Okay. So you understand where I came from. I came from something that was totally foreign to me.
Yeah.
So
okay, I feel like what I've heard you say is that you created this because God told you to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to add on to
I do.
that? Okay.
So the reason why I created it was because it's all about our peace. And just a little bit about me. I didn't realize, even I had a beautiful childhood, don't get me wrong. If you read and listen to my podcast and read my journals and blogs, you'll see that I had a beautiful childhood. But I had a childhood that was steeped in secrets. Mm. And so even as a child, I tried to be settled, but I just never was really settled because there was always something. Mm. I sensed there was always something. So I was never really at peace. Mm. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So, whenever I would have this conversation with my mom, it's like and I'm describing it to you, we would talk and then she would stop and then she'd turn a corner. Mm. So she wouldn't continue with that conversation. And so I never got a clear understanding. So I never had peace. As an adult, not really peace. Mm. And so I didn't understand what God was leading me through, my journey. But when he said he wanted me to talk about peace, it connected with me. Yeah. I got it. I understood it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
saying?
He
has us talk about those things that we experience.
Yes. Deeply. So we can really talk about some stuff. Yeah. And y'all know that it's true because it comes from here. Yeah. It comes from a place of.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't let you know I was going to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
And I just want to know what is the podcast or the blog post that you feel resonates with you the most? Like, what is the one that either it took a lot for you to write
Oh my gosh.
or after you kind of reflect on it, you're like, oof, I didn't know I thought like that, or I didn't know I had that in me.
That is a really, really good question. There's actually two of them.
Oh, good. Okay.
The first one was really my first one, Mother's Secret.
Okay.
I didn't know. Mom's been gone over a decade, about 11
years.
About 11, okay, thank you, 11 years. And when I started writing, it just came up. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is all still in me, which is why it is so important that you start writing, but we'll talk about this in a second. But I just started writing and writing and writing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get it.
Yeah.
That was the first one. It took me 5 minutes to write it, 10 minutes to record. I didn't make any mistakes on that one. None, just clean through. The second one was about Dad, my dad. When I found out he was my stepdaddy. Okay, that was in the bio. I think this is the last one in June, I think.
Can I just say that we didn't find that out until we were like almost teenagers.
Yeah.
That our grandfather was technically not biological grandfather, and then went to go meet biological grandfather.
Right. Right.
That was the whole thing.
Yes, it was the whole thing. And so when I was recording that, actually in the middle of it, I started crying because I remember saying in it, you saw my worth. My daddy saw my worth. And just the other day, he was, we were celebrating 4th of July. He came down for the 4th and we were talking, and you know what he said?
What did he say?
He said, you know what? He calls me Lainey. He says, when I was a young kid, he said, I think I was about 5 or 6. He said, I promised myself that when I had a family, I would never leave them. Okay? So if you listen to the dad, I have 3 of them in June. If you listen to it, you'll know that in it, Dad, your grandfather, was raised by, I thought it was 4th cousins, but the other day he said distant cousins. Okay. And so he was raised by cousins. His mom, his bio mom and dad were right over there in another town, right there. And every time they had a kid, they give them to their cousins who were sharecroppers. Okay. And so for him to have that history, and to decide and resolve, and I can understand he's kind of stubborn, to resolve in his mind that whatever family he was going to have, he was going to take care of them. Yeah. I fell in love with him even more.
And Grandpa, let me tell you something. Grandpa has been working. Grandpa just retired.
He just retired. Just retired.
83, 82?
Yes, 83.
He just retired 6 months ago.
He did. He did.
Was going, and it just kind of happened. He was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead.
I'm done. And what can you say? We've been begging him, please, Daddy, please retire. Please enjoy life. No, I'm not ready yet. But when he was ready, he was done.
He was ready.
And he's ready. He is ready.
So he has always taken care of his family.
Always. He got the kids $10 each. I forgot to tell you.
You didn't give it to me.
Sure did.
That's fun. That's jacked up.
Well, since we're sharing the truth right now, I just thought I'd lay that out there, but I'm keeping the money, okay?
Oh, I love it. So we heard about your, like, the ones that really meant the most to you.
Yes.
But I want to understand, because this process it's flowed, but it hasn't necessarily been easy.
Of course not.
So what I want to understand is, have there ever been moments where you felt discouraged?
Yeah.
And how did you
push through
past that?
Well, like I said, the not knowing technology, and you have to understand, me being in my 60s, by 50, I felt I knew everything. So I really haven't, I'm not saying I haven't learned a lot of new things since then, but technically, based on what I've been doing, I haven't learned a lot of new. Well, I did go to school. That's not true.
Can we talk about that?
I forgot about that. I did go to school.
So Mom went back to school.
I did. I forgot.
So Mom, okay, so she married dad right out of, a couple years after high school. They were high school sweethearts.
Right.
Got married. Dad was in the Air Force, so they were moving. We lived in England for 4 years, 3.5, 4 years. Then moved to Oklahoma, where mom was basically a stay-at-home mom until my youngest brother was in the first grade. Then that's when you went to State Barber College and got your license and all that great stuff. But before you got married, you went to business school.
I did.
For about a year.
I did. Office specialist. I graduated in Lincoln. I did. Yeah.
Okay. But what you've always wanted to do was to go to college.
I did.
And so you did that.
I did.
A few years ago.
I did.
You started.
I did.
And ended up getting, and fell in love with school.
I did.
And end up getting 2 associate's degrees.
I did.
Okay.
Yes. And what that did was that ignited that writing and reading in me. You know, when I'm blessed, I love my kids. I wouldn't change anything in the world.
Come on now.
You know, I have to say that.
Especially this one.
She's sitting here, so I have to say that. But I wouldn't change anything. But I sometimes it's not like you forget, but you put yourself on the back burner. And so what was happening was I used to read all the time growing up. I lived in my bedroom. All I did was read, write, read. And somehow I lost that, But going back to school ignited that. I got so many, you can really write from my professors. Wanting me to write things. I'm like, they're just saying that, the first 2. But then others kept saying it because I went for 2-3 years. They all said the same thing. And I'm like, you know what? I forgot I do like this.
And mom had me read one of her papers, and it was really good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I love to write. I love to read. That's why I'm so excited about this podcast and this blog. Matter of fact, I didn't start the blog until a month ago, because remember I didn't know nothing in January, so I was just trying to make it with the podcast.
It's July. It is July.
It's July
as of this recording.
Yes, and so I didn't know anything as of January, and so I'm like, if I could just learn how to record, edit, put the music in and do all that other stuff, I was just good doing that. But once I talk, because you have to write down. I have to write down what I talk, what I'm going to say. And then I'm like, well, how come I can't write stuff down and then let them read it? But I need something different. So that's why I created the ABCs of SUP. And I go through the alphabet, A through C. It is so much fun because each time I have a different subject. Like right now, y'all haven't seen it yet. But right now, I'm working on the different sides of relationships. Okay.
Are you an R already?
Well, I toxics.
Okay.
T. Okay. Right now, my last thing was F. Okay. But in July and August, I'll be working on relationships, the incompatibility.
Okay, got it.
Hindrances. H-I. See, you weren't supposed to know that, so don't tell nobody. Okay. But it helps me to be able to get out in 2 different ways what God is telling me about our peace. And also for everyone to realize that we all go through something.
Everybody.
Okay.
Rains on the just and the unjust.
It does. It absolutely does. And so God wants us to get through these issues as safely as possible. He don't want us turning to drugs. He don't want us trying to hurt ourselves. He don't want us trying to hurt other people. He want us to depend on him and his peace, inner and outer peace.
Yeah. So who does your content help? Who would you say is your audience?
I think my audience, initially, when you start something and you're not, So initially, I said, well, my audience is for 20-year-olds and 40-year-olds, and after that, you kind of should know better. No. That's not true, okay?
Yeah.
But it is for anyone who is, and I will put you as an adult, so at least 18, okay? But it's for anyone that's dealing with unforgiveness, secrets, toxic relationships, being abused, life issues, being scared, being worried, hindrances.
Okay.
Yeah, life's issues. If you're ready to receive, then this podcast and blog is for you. And I have it that anyone can read it. Meaning, if you have a child that maybe kind of started early with with life's issues, it's not nothing rated R.
Yeah.
Because just in case my grandkids read it, especially in the future, I want them to have a good concept up there. Their mom. I only have one thing that mentions sexual, and that was in boundaries. Okay, sexual boundaries. But they even need to know that you allow no one to control your body.
Right. Okay.
But that's even clean. So yes. Okay. Anyone who's going through life issues.
It was a little odd hearing my mother say the word
it
sexual.
Was, and it felt good too. We're gonna talk more about that.
4 kids later.
Never too late.
So I heard you talk about the ABCs that you're working on, and that's in your blog.
Yes.
Is that what you're working on? Is there anything that you want to share that you're working on?
Yes. And so you remember I said I like to write. Well, I am going to. I'm creating a journal. It's called SUPS. I have another name. It's going to be SUPS in it, but you know what I'm saying. I'm going to play with the words, but it's a journal. And I'm playing with the colors. I'm going to have my little logo on there. I haven't decided what kind of flower I'm going to put on it, but y'all know I'm working with the dandelion.
It's going to be a flower.
Okay. I don't even know why I came up with the word, with the image dandelion, but it just dropped in my spirit. I looked it up. I said, well, God, it's a weed. And he said, yes, it is. But it's a weed that goes through transformations. And I said, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So it'll be that, and then I love colors, so we'll be working with colors. But I'm excited. I know that after October I'll have more of when it's going to come out.
Okay.
But it's going to be, I don't know, the end of this year or the first of part of next year. But I'm excited, so I'm going to come up with some journals and of course pens and everything tied with writing.
I love it.
I'm excited.
I love it. So we're going to make sure I drop the link for your podcast and your blog.
Yes.
Is there any other way that people can support you?
Yes, please subscribe. Subscribing, that means you won't miss out on anything. And also, when you click, the engines see it, and then more traffic comes to the site. So if you could subscribe, and it helps. Even when you subscribe, it helps if you click, because then it tells me that these are the subjects you guys are interested in. So you want to hear what you guys are interested in, or what my subscribers are interested in so far?
Yes.
Okay. So all of my subscribers, all 35 of you.
Somebody say, you start.
Somewhere, okay? Those are just my subscribers. Those are not the people that actually comes in and likes and comment. But I'm just talking about my subscribers because they are the consistent ones.
Right.
But all 35 of them clicked on all the daddy ones. The bully one.
Okay.
The mom's secret. The appreciative one. That was my first blog that I did, for appreciating yourself, and then boundaries.
Okay.
Those were my top rated ones. And so that's how I know. So if I know what you all are wanting, then I'll give you more like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so of course we don't do anything in a bubble. Who would you say, or what would you say was like your who's encouraged you? Who's pushed you forward?
My first inspiration was my oldest granddaughter. She was my first one. She is very, very unassuming. She does things when she want to do it. She does things how she wants to do it. Okay, so 2 years ago, we found out that she had created her own YouTube page 4 years prior to that. So by the time her family, the ones who loved her, found out about it, she was 40,000 subscribers.
Yeah. We were like, Alexa's got a YouTube page.
It's on anime. Okay, it's an anime.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm like, she could do that? Okay, I could do that. Now, I'm not talking about her technical side because she's good with that. but I'm talking about her daring to get out there and learn something she knew nothing about.
So your first grandbaby.
My first grandbaby was yes. And so I know she probably won't be watching this.
She may.
She may not.
I'm going to send it to her directly.
She's just going to click and scroll. But the second person is sitting next to me. Yeah, I know. She didn't know I was going to say that, like, for real.
Me?
Yes. Did she know?
I'm so embarrassed.
I would call you the name I usually call you, but the grandkids may hear. But really you are, okay? Because I see a lot of me in you. Like, if I had, like, not to do it all over again, because I would do it the same way. I really would. But you would be the next thing I would do. I would take off with the career and the family, But I admire everything you do. And I know the struggles that you've had to start something from scratch. She's done it like 5 different times. Lots of times. And she works in the community. She works on boards. She supports her district attorney husband. Okay. She's the first lady of a church. She has 4 of my grandkids. And she has started something from scratch. Okay. Which is this. Well, this is an offshoot of your books. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, come on now. Katie Girl 5. That's my code name. Katie Girl 5. If your daughter can launch all of this, come on now. So really, you and Alexis are my inspiration.
I have the most amazing mother in the entire world.
But I really do mean that.
She's amazing.
Yeah, I really do mean that.
Yeah.
You are. Oh, I love you too.
I love you.
I love you.
Okay. So, creative stands for something. It stands for committed, for C. R is ready. E is excited. A is audacious. T is tenacious. I is inspires. V is visionary. E is energy.
Wow.
So of those words, what would you say embodies either you now or where you see yourself?
Okay, 3 of them do, but I would do 1.
I was about to say, you're not following the rules.
I'm gonna follow the rules only because people are watching. But I'll do 1,
Okay.
and I'll describe how I'm feeling now. And I am so excited. I'm excited for where this is going to go. Now, hear what I said. I said 35. But the next time we talk, I'm gonna have way more than that. Because my faith is I can't even see it. It's out the window. It's around the corner because God has already said that He wants me to do this and He's been supporting me in doing this. So I would say excited.
Yay. That's a good feeling to have.
It is.
Yeah, that's a good feeling to have.
It
I
is.
love it. I love it. Okay, last but not least, I love music. I feel like it brings like a different dimension. Sometimes if I'm feeling, all the time when I'm writing, I'm listening to music. What about you? If you had to name like a song that was your theme song,
okay,
what would that song be?
Well, when I write, I can't do 2 things at one time, so I'm just writing. But this song, This Week by Anthony Brown.
Okay.
When I have gone through some really, 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 really tough times, this song was one of the songs that just lifted me up and was like a comfort around me to let me know God had me.
Yeah.
And it's like I had to just take one day at a time.
Okay.
And even in a song, it says, I don't really know what's happening. All I know is I'm believing in God. And so This Week by Anthony Brown, yes. I listen to it, and of course I moved past that stage, but I listen to it even now and it makes me happy. So it's that song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a source of encouragement.
It is a source of encouragement.
Forward.
Keep moving forward.
Keep going,
one foot at a time.
Yeah.
And I can look back and say, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, God is awesome. Because I remember when I was in that place listening to that song. Now I'm here. Okay, so God is awesome. So that was my song, This Week by Anthony Brown.
This week, I love it. I love it. This has been a special edition of Creative Conversations.
Yes.
I have been speaking with my dear mother and a bloggist. I don't know, is that what they're called? Bloggist?
Yes, you could call me that.
A bloggist and a podcaster.
Yes, and they're both on the same site.
Yes, and so we're going to make sure that we link it and that folks can just click it and find it. And thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, I just want to encourage y'all to listen to the podcast, listen to the blog. If you have anything you want me to talk about, I will. Nothing is off the table. But it's been a pleasure, and I love you, sweetheart.
Thank you. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.